Fox Hollow Farm, located in Carmel, Indiana, harbors a story so horrifying that it haunts not only the property, but also the collective memory of everyone who knows its past. Nestled among dense and isolated woods, the mansion once appeared to be the perfect refuge for someone seeking privacy. However, what happened within its walls transformed this sanctuary into one of the most feared places in the United States. In the 1990s, the mansion was home to Herb Baumeister, an outwardly ordinary businessman whose public life concealed a dark and disturbing reality. Herb was known for his reclusive nature. As the owner of a chain of thrift stores, he was respected in the community but rarely socialized. His reserved demeanor raised some suspicions, but nothing that could have predicted the horrors that would later unfold. Meanwhile, a chilling pattern of disappearances was emerging in the Indianapolis area. Young men, primarily patrons of LGBTQ+ bars, were vanishing without a trace. Families searched for answers, but the police had few leads. The facade of normalcy began to crumble in 1996 when Julie, Herb's wife, made a horrifying discovery. While exploring the sprawling yard of the mansion, she stumbled upon partially buried bones, many of which had been burned. Shocked but unsure of what she had found, Julie contacted authorities. The ensuing investigation revealed an even darker truth. The woods and gardens surrounding the property were littered with human remains, evidence that Herb had used the mansion as a stage for a series of brutal murders. Herb lured his victims, vulnerable young men, to the property under the guise of private parties, described by some survivors as charismatic and persuasive. Herb used the mansion's isolation to ensure no one could hear the screams. Once inside, he strangled the men during acts that combined violence with psychological manipulation. Evidence linked him to at least 11 murders, though many believe the actual number was far higher. Before he could be arrested, Herb fled to Canada, where he took his own life in a park, leaving behind a note that offered no explanation for his crimes. The mansion, now tainted by these grim events, remained vacant for some time before being purchased by Rob and Vicky Graves. From the beginning, they sensed something was amiss. The silence of the property was oppressive, yet it felt alive, as if filled with unseen presences. Soon, the new residents began to hear voices, whispers, echoing through empty rooms, and footsteps resonating in the hallways. Even more disturbing were the strange shadows that flickered at the edges of their vision, vanishing the moment anyone turned to look. Rob recounted a particularly chilling encounter. One night, while leaving his bedroom, he saw a man standing in the hallway dressed in old-fashioned clothes. The figure was motionless, but its eyes glowed with what Rob described as deep agony. As he tried to approach, the figure dissolved like smoke. Other visitors and workers reported similar experiences. Some heard muffled screams coming from the woods, while others felt unseen hands touch their shoulders, only to turn around and find no one there. Paranormal investigators were drawn to the mansion, bringing equipment to document the phenomena. Many left shaken, describing a heavy energy that seemed to envelop the entire place. One investigator, who spent the night in the master bedroom, awoke paralyzed, unable to move or cry out. He claimed to have seen a shadowy figure at the foot of the bed, leaning in to whisper something in his ear. Whatever was said was enough to make him abandon the investigation immediately. The woods surrounding the mansion are a chapter of horror, all their own. Visitors report that upon entering the area where the bodies were discovered, the air grows colder even on the hottest days. Some feel an intense sensation of being watched, while others hear the sound of dry leaves crunching, underfoot though no one else is around. The more sensitive claim the place radiates pain and despair, as if the souls of the victims are still trapped there, crying out for justice. Today, Fox Hollow Farm is a destination for curiosity seekers and ghost hunters, but most who venture there leave with stories they wish they could forget. The terror that began with Herb Baumeister's monstrous acts seems to have seeped into the very soil, transforming the mansion into a place where echoes of the past refuse to fade. For those who believe, the spirits of the victims still wander the halls and woods, while Herb's shadow looms as a grim reminder that true evil can hide behind the most ordinary of faces. The Cecil Hotel, located in downtown Los Angeles, has always been shrouded in an aura of mystery. Since its opening in 1927, its history has been marked by brutal deaths, suicides, and tragedies that turned it into a macabre icon of the city. However, what happened to Elisa Lam in January 2013 remains one of the most terrifying and inexplicable events associated with the location. Elisa Lam was a 21-year-old student from Vancouver, Canada, who decided to travel alone through California as a way to explore the world and connect with herself. She documented every step of her journey on social media, where she shared her impressions and thoughts. Elisa was open about her struggle with bipolar disorder and depression, but seemed fine in the days leading up to her arrival in Los Angeles. When she booked a room at the Cecil Hotel, Elisa was unaware of its dark reputation. Staying there seemed like a practical choice, affordable rates and a central location. However, what she encountered at the hotel would tragically change her story. During the first few days, Elisa visited tourist spots and appeared to be enjoying her trip. But on January 31st, she mysteriously disappeared without a trace. Elisa's family, worried about the lack of contact, alerted the police. Searches were conducted at the hotel and in the surrounding areas, but no clues were found. Guests and staff claimed not to have seen anything suspicious. The mystery deepened even further when, days later, the police released a surveillance video showing Elisa behaving strangely in the hotel elevator. In the video, recorded on the night of her disappearance, Elisa enters the elevator and appears nervous. She presses several buttons simultaneously, but the door doesn't close. She hides in the corner of the elevator as if she's running from someone, repeatedly looks outside, and makes strange hand gestures as if she's talking to someone invisible. Finally, she leaves the elevator and the door closes. This was the last time Elisa Lam was seen alive. The footage quickly went viral online, sparking disturbing speculations. Some believed Elisa was being followed, while others suggested she was possessed by some supernatural force. Her erratic behavior in the video seemed impossible to explain rationally. And then, the mystery grew even darker. Nearly 3 weeks after her disappearance, guests began complaining about the taste and appearance of the water in their rooms. The water was cloudy, had a foul smell, and a metallic taste. Hotel staff went to inspect the water tanks on the rooftop and made a horrifying discovery. Elisa Lam's body was floating inside one of the tanks. The scene was horrifying. Elisa's body was in an advanced state of decomposition, partially nude with her clothes floating nearby. The discovery raised a crucial question. How did Elisa manage to get into the tank? The area was difficult to access, with locked doors and alarms that had not been triggered. Additionally, the tank's lid was too heavy for her to lift alone. The police ruled her death as an accidental drowning, but the explanation left many gaps. The case took on even darker tones due to the history of the Cecil Hotel. During the 1980s, Richard Ramirez, known as the Night Stalker, lived there while committing his brutal murders. In the 1960s, a woman named Pauline Otten jumped from a 9th-floor window, landing on a pedestrian and killing both. Suicides, overdoses, and violent crimes were common events at the location. Many believed the hotel was cursed, an epicenter of negative energy that attracted tragedies. Theories about Elisa Lam's death range from rational explanations to paranormal ones. Some suggest she had a psychotic episode due to her mental health condition, while others believe supernatural forces were at play. The elevator footage is often cited as evidence that Elisa was interacting with something invisible. Paranormal investigators claim that Elisa's behavior in the video aligns with other reports of strange occurrences at the hotel, such as voices, shadows, and sensations of being watched. Chilling coincidences further fueled the mystery. The movie Dark Water, released in 2005, tells the story of a young woman whose body is found in a water tank in a decaying building, contaminating the residents' water supply. The similarities between the plot and Elisa's case are unsettling. Moreover, many point out that the Cecil Hotel's grim history could have influenced Elisa's behavior or drawn malevolent forces that led to her death. Today, the Cecil Hotel is closed, but Elisa Lam's case continues to haunt those who pass by its building. Reports of shadowy figures in windows, voices, and footsteps in the hallways are frequent. Elisa's story is not only a symbol of the hotel's mystery and horror, but also a reminder of how some secrets remain buried, even when the truth seems within reach. No one knows for sure what happened to Elisa that fateful night, but the mystery remains alive, an open wound in the dark heart of Los Angeles.